Manfred's having a little bit of trouble with his coalition of owners. Shockingly, because there's more than 1,000 players and there's 30 owners, the players seem more unified right now than the owners do. And some are unhappy with Manfred. Some are unhappy with Scott Boras. Some are just livid about the whole idea of there being a season at this point. And I was told that there's about 6 owners that don't want a season, which is an interesting development, to say the least. And that's where we are. I believe still that the majority of people invested in this do want a season. And there will be a season, but there's some dissension that Manfred's dealing with. And finally, I believe that has something to do with why we're seeing him deliver somewhat mixed messages and mixed personas in public, because he got off a call at lunchtime yesterday with his owners that was really, really heated. And he comes off of that, tapes a spot with ESPN and looks a little shell-shocked. I think now we know a little bit more as to why. He represents a faction of people that are angry and a little bit split right now.
Give our audience a sense quickly, Andy, about that number of 6 owners that don't want baseball. Is that number already worrisome if you're in the camp that wants a season like most of us are, or does it need to increase for it to be really worrisome?
It would need to increase by a few more, 8 or 9, I believe. The issue is there are teams that are going to lose money if they play. And the union's identified what those teams are. The league has identified what those teams are. And some of those owners just would rather not do it. But there are plenty of owners who would lose money but still say the best long-term play here is to do the season, lose a couple bucks, and not alienate our entire fan base. So that's what I think will prevail.
Todd, as a former player rep yourself, can you imagine how difficult it would be when these two sides are as far apart as they are to make this work when you can't do anything face-to-face?
Yeah, I think it is a bit of a challenge. I think that's not to be understated, I should say. When we did negotiations in the past, there was a group of players, a small group of players, as little as 12, as many as 25 at times, as a part of the negotiating committee that would be in the room with Rob Manfred or Stan Kasten or Bud Selig and Jerry Reinsdorf, and the guys that in public perception were very shrewd, were sometimes vocal, and did a really good job of positioning themselves to seem like players were the bad guys, owners were the good guys. And but when you get behind closed doors and you're face-to-face and you're having some of these discussions, that I think there's a lot of gray area, and both sides are digging in, trying to take their part of the gray area as much of it as they can. I think some of the nuance can be lost when you're not face-to-face. I think some of the nuance, even with us in Zoom, is different than when we're in the same room together. We see body language. There's things that you pick up on. And I do think it's easier to have more bold positions when you don't have to walk into the room and face the guy. And then when the meeting's over, stand up and say, hey, good to see you next time, whatever. All those things of personal interaction, I think, make negotiations quite a bit different than they are right now.